I'm a parent, and when I do that, it's parenting.
Yeah.
Right. Our kids are children. When they're being children, what is that? Childrening? What is that? What's the word? I need to know the word.
I actually have no idea what you're saying right now.
When they're childrening. Childrening. Kids can be assholes.
Yes.
Kids can be assholes. Where's the safe place for us?
You're listening to the Laughing Couple podcast with your hosts, Brittany and Ryan Ostafy. Join them weekly as they discuss topics such as relationships, kids, sex, parenting, all unfiltered and all with a healthy dose of laughter. Please welcome your hosts, Brittany and Ryan Ostafy.
Good morning.
Guten Tag, Brittany.
How are you? I just feel like we haven't spoken. We've gone through like the last week. It's been, here's the baton, fucking run.
I feel like you've been giving me the baton a lot this last week. So,
yeah. Well,
it's not been a back and forth. It's been like a hold this and run, keep running.
Oh yeah. You're like, hold this. I have to golf for 5 hours yesterday. I'm like, I got this. Yeah. It's a baton and I hold it too.
Yeah. Well,
it's not just me being like, here's the baton. Goodbye.
I feel like it has been this week. That's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, Brittany. I said yes.
No, I said, I feel like we haven't talked. And you were like, you give it to me. Like, you're the one that was getting defensive, not me. I'll just give it right back to you. You want to play that game? You want to play that game? I'll play.
You will lose.
I will play that game.
That's okay.
In most
weeks, you have very strong a chance of winning that argument, but not this past week. I have really stepped it up this last week.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be an interesting podcast.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into the details of it. Do you want to go into I love you and you're annoying?
Sure.
Not what dents my dick, but this is a very small annoyance that I have. I love you dearly. This is a very small annoyance. So last night, the night prior is a perfect example of how it should go versus how it went. And this is so small, but it's like the little small things that, add up, compound, and eventually I just don't like you. I haven't reached that yet, just to be clear.
I don't know if I'm going to make it through this podcast, to be honest.
When you go out with your girlfriends or you're out in the evening, whatever, I always, as you know, I always stay up for you. Right? I always stay up. I always want to make sure you're home. I always check in. How was your night? Blah, 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 blah. Sometimes I don't if you're in late and I have to go to bed. But what I always do is I want to lock the front door because you lock the front door. But I know that when you come around the corner, that area is not well lit. And so when you're trying to search for your keys, when the door is locked, it's hard to do so. So I always turn the light on for you.
Oh, and I didn't leave the light on?
You never do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You never do. You lock the door and you turn the light off. And I'm always like, I can't fucking see. So I've got my flashlight out. And I'm like, why does she turn the light off?
Yeah.
Like, she knows I'm coming home. She knows it's late. She knows it's pitch black. She knows our porch is pitch black. Why don't you turn the light on for me?
That's totally valid. I will make a mental note and I will start doing that for you. That's a good one. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll put that on my back.
You want to know what else is a little annoying about last night?
Sure.
So the night prior, as you know, you were out a little bit late and that's cool. And when you came home, where was I? On the couch waiting for you. So you had a friend over last night to entertain you while I was gone, right? And so I know what time they left because I saw it on my phone. And I called you just to be like, oh, hey, I'm like right around the corner. I didn't know if they wanted to wait so I could say hello to them, which was fine. I passed her. We waved to each other in the car. I show up 10 minutes later.
Right.
And you're in bed.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't wait 10 minutes for me to walk in the door just to say hello. How was golf? It was great, by the way. It was probably the best round of golf I had played all year long. I was striping the ball right where I wanted to. I had a couple of really bad shots. But other than that, I was I wanted to come home and talk about it. I didn't get a chance to.
Are you done?
I was like, oh yeah. I walked in the door. I'm like, well, I guess I'll just go fuck myself.
I just think it's really funny that you're upset that you got to go play a game of golf and I didn't wait up for you so you could tell me about your game of golf. Are you fucking kidding me?
Like, when you put it that way.
Yeah. You were like, hey, do you mind if I go golf? I'm like, go for it. Have fun. And then Cooper has this infected toenail. So I went from like dropping Riley off, podcasting yesterday, going to pick Cooper up, picking Riley up, coming home, feeding the kids, then like figuring out his infected toenail, to rushing to the doctor's office with both kids, then going to pick up the prescription, and then you're already gone. And I didn't wait up to talk to you about your golf game. Are you fucking kidding me? Like,
yeah, but
no, hold on. No,
but you can't put it that way.
Yes, I can, because that's what happened.
Yeah,
I was
but that
hold
doesn't
on.
make it- that doesn't
you got to
work
talk.
for me.
You got to talk. Like that. I am sorry that I went to bed. Like I had my girlfriend come over. I totally missed your call. Like honestly, I did not see that you called me. You asked me this morning if you're like, I called you yesterday. I'm like, I didn't see it. Kristen left. I went upstairs, washed my face, checked on the kids, went to bed, like fully dead ass tired. I'm sorry that I didn't stay up so you could tell me about all the birdies you made. Like
I only made one birdie, but it was an awesome one.
Oh my God.
You want me to tell you about it right now?
No, I
Oh,
do not. I don't care. I'm so glad you had a good time. But
It's on the last hole. It's a great way to finish a round.
anyways,
I'm like,
okay.
15-foot putt for birdie. I'm like,
I don't even
it's
have,
makeable.
I don't have an I love you and you're annoying, because I feel like we have so much that we need to talk about after the podcast, like later, that we just need to decompress, because Ryan and I have been like, again, like we've said, we've been just passing the baton, and this is when we usually start to like nitpick at each other. And
Pass
I feel
and
like,
hold.
yeah, like we just fuck you.
Pass and hold.
Okay. Anyways, I don't think that this podcast can handle all of the stuff I need to say. So like, let's leave that for another time. Everything's fine. So
Doesn't seem fun.
I feel everything's fine. It's just like, this is, and we've talked about this so much. Like we don't argue a lot, but when we are so busy separately, that's when we aren't connecting and we're not communicating, because we just simply are not speaking, because we're so busy in our like respective lanes that we get frustrated with one another. And so we do need to have a check-in. I was asked to golf tonight, but I was like, no, I actually have to sit with my husband. So
I also don't own golf clubs.
that too.
Yeah.
It's fine. And I mean golf, like I was asked to like hang out, and I was like, no, honestly, like I need to have, I miss Ryan. We should talk. So I didn't hang out with my friend, because I thought our marriage needed.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Because you probably hung out with that exact friend all weekend.
No,
I'm
I
guessing.
didn't. I haven't seen her actually. That's fine. Anyways, so what I want to talk about is that this is funny. So last Friday we went to Paris Drink Fest, which is this little drink fest in Paris, which is exactly
what? We went to Paris Drink Fest, which is a little like a festival
it's
where
like
you drink
a brewery
in Paris.
where like a whole bunch of breweries and alcohol brands, like they come, they have tents, you buy tickets, you get tokens, and the Trues were playing. They were amazing. So we went.
Can we just say for
oh my God,
Trues,
incredible.
I didn't realize that the Trues had so many songs that I knew.
I don't think you realized you were alive during the event. We'll get to that, but you're right. Like we knew, like everyone knows a couple True songs, but like more than that, I was so blown away with how incredible they were live. Like I just was like, his voice was so good. Like it's a lot to play live and sound even better than you do on the radio. And like the conditions weren't ideal. Like it was gross, muggy. Then it got freezing. Like they were just amazing.
Weren't ideal for me.
So yes.
But I will. It was his voice was like Ray Montaigne.
Le Montagne. Yeah,
it had this
rasp.
like rasp. It's like, does that guy smoke a lot? I'm like, how does he keep that? Because when he talks, he doesn't talk like this.
Yeah, he does a little.
A little?
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't really remember, to be honest.
I'm just sitting here thinking like, I did that Macho Man skit.
Right.
And Jake and I worked on that for about half an hour, and I lost my voice for 2 days.
Yeah.
2 days, lost my voice.
Maybe he does smoke a pack a day, or smoke a pack right before he has to perform.
Oh, but
just to get it.
God, and his what do you call it? Like
vibrato.
The vibrato, like in his voice.
That was
That's the
identical.
vibrato. It was insane.
So good. Okay, so Friday we get there. So before we go to our friend's house, and we talked about this before, but like we will do like a weed gummy, and like just so everybody knows, because it's not legal in all of America, right? Like weeds have been legal in Canada for a really long time. And so every once in a while, like Ryan and I will both do like weed gummies, because we don't I'm not a big weed smoker. Like I cough my brains out when I'm smoking, but every once in a while we'll do a little gummy and we just giggle. So
and,
Ryan,
and I will take it when I have a really bad headache,
Yes.
which I did.
Yes, the
have
THC
a really bad headache that day coming
right.
to the party, and I thought there's going to be 10 strangers here. I've got a really bad headache.
I don't want to be a dick.
I don't want to be a dick, so I'm just going to take something that's going to take away the pain a little bit.
Ryan takes a gummy, okay? And everything's fine. Like everything is going great. And we walked to the venue and it was like the grown-up Goonies. Like everyone just got so high so quickly. Ryan was crossing the street at the non-crosswalks. Like you were like going, like there was the crosswalk and then you were like, fuck this crosswalk. And you went like 20 feet ahead of it. And like it was so bizarre. So everything's fine. We get to the event, okay? And it's like you went through a portal and you landed from the wall, actually. You were like, and now I'm in another portal, another dimension. You went from being like fun, chill, like everything's great, Ryan, to being like, I don't know what dimension I'm in. And I was like, are you okay? And you were like, I'm not okay. So we sat down. I'm like, okay, like you were having a really bad trip. And so you asked me to go take you to the bathroom 4 times, okay? Throughout the hour, okay? Hold on. So I take you to the bathroom and then you tell me the next morning, you're like, just so you know, I went to the bathroom every time and just held my dick. And I didn't even You were like, I was just staring down, looking at my dick, being like, are we doing this? Like, what are we doing here?
Like, why are you letting me down? I keep telling people I have to pee, but I don't have to pee. You're screwing me up here.
You were saying, for the first hour, it wasn't good. Like, we had to talk you through it. My brother-in-law was like, you'll be fine. But Pete was also
Let me be clear. I eat the edibles that we buy from the distilleries here.
Yes. This wasn't one of those. What I ate
was not that. No, and I'm telling you, whatever someone gave me, which is like, I don't do that. Like I'm pretty responsible. Whatever someone gave me there's no way that it was cannabis.
Yes, I know. Well, hold on. So we're trying to you were like, I think I have to go home. And my brother-in-law was like, no, like you cannot go home. You do not want your father-in-law to pick you up and try to work you through it. So he was like, I got you. Don't worry. Like, just follow me. Okay. So then he turns around. People brought their lawn chairs. Okay. And so there's an elderly couple in between, like sitting on the lawn, waiting for the show. Pete is like, follow me. I got this. He was like, just like literally grabs you, then tries to squeeze between 4 centimeters in between these two chairs. I was like, what the fuck is Pete doing? And he was like, just follow me. Just follow me. He's literally like shimmying through these 2 chairs. And I was like, Pete, like that's not a path. And I'm not joking. It was 4 inches. And you were just looking at him and you're like, no. And so,
then no, Pete. No.
Some guy was
There's
like,
a path right there. You're walking between people.
Oh my God.
Like,
I was
not following
crying. You. And at one point, this guy, he was so cool. He was like, you're going to be all right, man. Like, you're going to be fine. Like, you know what? Let's go grab an IPA. Okay. He said this to you like 2 times. And like every time you were dead ass serious. He would be like, you know what? Let's go grab an IPA. You'd look at him and you were like, no, I do not want an IPA. Yeah, I do not want green eggs and ham. Like you were so curt and serious. And so I was like, okay. And then I put my hand on your back. Okay. And I was like, trying to rub your back. And I'm like, did it rain? And I'm like, I'm pretty drunk, but like, I don't think it rained. And then you were like, I think I'm kind of hot. So you took off your jacket and your hoodie. You were soaking wet. You were sweating. You sweat through your fleece hoodie. Like it was like a light blue. It went to a deep turquoise. Like
I'm pretty sweaty. And like, you look at my
the
armpits.
The guy beside us who wanted to get an IPA with you, he was like, oh, it can't be that bad. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That was so
Are
sweaty.
you okay? I'm like, no, I don't think so. I think I'm sweating.
Like, no, I'm not okay.
It was not good. It
was so funny.
This is why I'm like, I've had gummies numerous times in like the 5 years that we've been allowed to eat them in this country.
Yeah.
This was not that. This was, you say a bad trip. You don't have trips when you're on a cannabis gummy, especially the minimal amount that I do. I felt like I was in purgatory.
Well, that's what you said, because when we first got there, like we sat down And I was like trying to like talk you through it. There was just 2 chairs when we got there. And then we got up and we started walking around. And you were like, I honestly don't know if I'm still sitting on those chairs and it's just my soul, like just continuing to like walk about. And so you were really messed up, but I like wrote down a couple of the things so I wouldn't forget. But one of them was somebody was like, man, like we're so hungry. Like we need to get more food. And then everyone's like, yeah, more food. And then all of a sudden you're just like, yeah, or support. Yeah, we need more food. Yeah, or more support.
Yeah,
like
I just need help.
You were struggling, but you got through it. You got through that like really dark tunnel of a purgatory, came out on the other side. Super, super happy. That we met so many awesome people there who were like, oh, we follow you, which was like, honestly, my nightmare, because at one point, there was somebody coming up and talking to you. We were both there. She was so sweet. And then you just leaned over and you were like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm really high right now. I cannot partake in this conversation. I have to go. And then you left me. And I was like, oh, but she was laughing. She was so great.
I felt bad because the problem is when you do cannabis gummies, sometimes you get self-conscious.
Totally.
Right. And I did not want to come across as an asshole.
Oh, I get it.
I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to be disrespectful. And in my head, I was like, I'm not in a space right now that I feel comfortable having chit chats with people. And I don't want it to come across as I don't care, because I do care genuinely. And I remember looking at the one girl and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. I can't have this conversation with you right now. Here's Brittany. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
You were fine. Like you weren't being rude, but I totally understand. And when we got there too, like I was a little like nowhere near you. Like I felt good, but then we went to Friday Vodka, which was one of the not brewers, it's vodka, one of the brands that were there. So so they give you a glass, right? Everyone gets a glass. Then you buy tokens and you put your token in for what you want. So it was like literally right when we got there. So I was at my peak.
I didn't use one token.
At the end of the night, Ryan pulls out his baggie. He's like, look at all these tokens. Yeah, I found all my tokens. Okay,
I'm like, who wants a drink? Because I've got a bunch of tokens and I'm not drinking.
So I go over to Friday Vodka, and I was at my peak of feeling really great, but a little high. So this lovely lady was like, what can I get you? And I was like, I'll take that. And it was one token. So I give her my token. And so then she puts her hand out. And so I was like, right, she wants to hold my hand. So I took her hand like this. Okay. And then she was like, no. Yeah.
Here to talk about the Lord.
She's like, no. So then she points. So I was like, oh, she wants my other hand. So I let go, and then I grabbed her hand with my left hand, and then she was like, no, and like points again. So then I like encompassed her hand with both of my hands. And then I was just like praying with her. And then she was like, I need your glass. And I was like, I can never return here. My friend Chelsea was like, we're never coming back to this tent. And I was like, that's valid. I can't return. It was so embarrassing, but it was so fun.
I think because we don't partake in this stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot.
When we do, being in a forest with a bunch of strangers.
Yeah.
It looked like Frodo Baggins' like lair.
Yes, it did.
And it was like, what is it? A Celtic?
It was like a village.
Yeah. It was nice. It was cute. Mm-hmm. I just shouldn't have been there. That was my only problem, is I should not have been there. Yeah. And I couldn't get your dad to pick me up at 7:00 at night because that would be
You'd
weird.
Never live that down either.
But yeah, I'll tell you, my favorite thing about that night was Pete. So Pete did not get the impacts that I got from whatever it is that both he and I ate.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I remember him looking at me one time. He's like, "Right." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You're high." I'm like, I know. He's like, "You ate that to get high, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Now you're high." I'm like, "I know." He's like, "So just fucking be high, man." Yeah. And I was like, I know, but Pete, I don't know why anyone wants to feel this way. Yeah. It doesn't feel good. I don't like it. I want to go home and I want to find a bed and I want to wake up in the morning and not feel like this. but this is why you did it, man. I honest to God, I felt like I was in a
Cheech and Chong. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I felt like I was in a movie that was like a parody of my life. And I'm like, this is gotta end like
but then
now.
he would like try to be so serious. And then he'd turn around and he was like, yo, it's a fork man, rainbow prostitute. Yeah. And I was like, what? Like, look behind him. This guy has like a fork behind his ear for like when he was eating poutine. He's wearing rain boots. And Pete was like, that guy, he's the fork man, rain boot prostitute. And I was like, oh, okay.
All right. And you're going to be my guide.
Yeah. He was like, you're my, yeah.
And you're the guide. And the best part is at the end of the night, I started feeling like really good after about an hour, and I didn't drink. I didn't do anything else. So I'm like,
you had all your tokens.
Yeah. I'm like, I feel good. And then the best part is at the end of the night, everybody was coming to me as to like, how are we getting out of this place? And I'm like, guys, 2 hours ago, nobody trusted me to even sit in a chair. And now all of you are coming to me to escort you out. And I'm like, sure, follow me.
You went the wrong way. You tried to climb over the barricade.
Well, I didn't go the wrong way.
Yes, you did.
I didn't go the wrong way. I knew that it was the wrong way, but I said to myself and to everyone else, why walk all the way around when that fence is like 3 feet high? We just go over it.
Because there were literal like security everywhere because they
would have understood.
They don't want you to leave with your full glass of alcohol. Like they make you dump it upside down before you leave. And Ryan's like, you were like, this is coffee. And the girl was like, well, how can I trust you? And you were like, smell it. It's coffee. And it was, but it was an espresso martini. You're like, see, why would I lie to you? And he like got right through security, like when we were leaving. And then you were like,
it was a martini?
Yeah, it was the espresso martini. That lovely girl
I lied to her
made
and
it.
I didn't even know.
Oh yeah, it was a full.
I thought you got me a coffee.
No, it was delicious. Wasn't it so good?
I thought it was a cold brew coffee that you got me.
No, it was an espresso martini.
I did not purposely. If you're listening to this podcast, I did not lie to you. I thought I had a coffee in my hand.
No, it was a coffee with alcohol.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
It was such a good time.
Can I tell you the story about Cooper?
Yes.
I really want to tell this story about Cooper because we had a guest on our podcast probably about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, where she was talking about the birds and the bees and how to have the conversation with your kids. And she said it pretty simply. She said, your kids don't understand the magnitude of sex.
Right.
So just tell them what it is. Mm-hmm. It's a penis and a vagina or whatever combination you want to do. It's the same thing as saying the sky is blue. And so I butchered it with Riley, but with Cooper, I was just very nonchalant. He asked me how babies were created. And I told him, I said, well, he's like, well, how did you guys create me? And I said, well, I took my penis and I put it in your mom's vagina.
Jesus Christ.
And
he's gonna go to school the first day and be like, my summer, my dad took his penis and put it in my mom's vagina.
And I said to him, I said, you know your balls? He's like, yeah. I'm like, inside your balls are little teeny fish.
Oh my God, right.
And he's like, they're fish? I'm like, yeah, little teeny fish. You can't even see them. I said, you okay, Jake? And I said, when the timing is right and you and your partner decide that you want to have a baby, you take your penis and you put it into I put it into your mother. And
it's just like butchering that.
Anyways, I said to him,
and then it's a seafood buffet.
I'm like, and then these little teeny fish swim in your mom and they find this egg and then they go in the egg and they make a baby. And that's how we made you. And that's how we made Riley. And he's like, oh, okay. So, a couple days go by. 2 nights ago, he's sitting there and he says to me, Dad, out of nowhere. Yeah. So I'm not really sure what he was thinking.
Right. Well, he probably was like, I don't feel like I want to eat fish tonight.
Anyways, that has double meaning when he gets older. Anyways, I shouldn't have said that.
No, that's gross.
Yeah, Etch-a-sketch. He says to me, Dad, I don't think I want to do birth.
No, yeah.
And I said, what? He's like, I don't think I want to do the birth thing. I'm like, what's the birth thing? He's like, I just don't think I want to put my penis in someone's vagina. I'm like, oh, you mean the sex thing? Yeah. He's like, yeah.
I'm not into that.
And I said, well, that's cool, Coop. I said, the thing about sex is you don't do it until you want to do it.
And you're not,
and you shouldn't want to do it right now.
You're not an adult.
This is not a conversation for you to even be pondering right now in your life. But at some point in time, you may want to do that or some version of that. And at that time, this will be a different conversation.
And we can have a conversation about it.
He's like, oh, okay. I'm like,
I don't want to do the birth
I don't want to do the birth thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, that's like Riley. She's like, I'm adopting. I'm like, perfect. You want to adopt? She's like, there's no way a baby's coming out of my vagina. I'm like, well, mine came out of my stomach. So anyway, they're cut open. Okay.
Yeah.
So
no, I know. I know. I had a wonderful conversation with Chelsea on Friday about birth.
Was this before or after you were in purgatory?
No, about birth. And this is I think this is worth mentioning because she was talking about, she just had a procedure done and now she doesn't pee when she sneezes, right? And we were talking about peeing when she sneezes. And she said, well, Brittany pees when she sneezes or jumps on trampolines or whatever. I'm like, yeah, she does. And then I said, like, Chelsea, I have never talked to my wife about this. I said, but I don't want to come across insensitive when I say this. But why does Brittany pee when she jumps on a trampoline? No, it's a legit question.
I know, but it's so weird that you're not asking me. You're like, you know what? I'll ask Chelsea.
Well, anyways. And I said, like, why? Like, I'm like, I don't mean it to be insensitive. Brittany gave birth to 2 of our children, but she never delivered a baby vaginally. So why would she still pee when she jumps on a trampoline? Because there was nothing that was actually done down there. And I didn't know it was just the pressure on the bladder and all of that fun stuff and all of the stuff that actually happens in the innards that messes everything else up, displaces it or whatever that makes that happen. And I was like, I didn't want to be like the insensitive jerk that says that, but I did. But I wanted to know why you peed.
But you've also said you have said that to me though. You're like, you didn't give birth for your vagina, so why do you pee? I also had like contractions, like post-birth contractions, even though I had a C-section. You're like, you're not having contractions and you didn't have a baby there. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like you're contracting inside.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know these things.
I know, but I love how you're like, shit, why are you peeing? Like, you don't have to pee for your vagina.
Well, the way that you presented it is like, I had 2 babies. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, you did have 2 babies.
Not in your head. You've said this out loud.
Okay. So I wanted to talk to someone else about this because I didn't like your answer, I guess.
Yeah, you were like, she's lying.
Yeah. I'm like, either way, I don't remember having this conversation with you.
Well,
either way,
I do.
I got an answer.
Yeah.
And the answer
was the same as mine.
And the answer wasn't offended.
Well, the answer was the same as mine. You were like, I need a second opinion.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Anyway,
okay. So let's kind of go into the end of this as we like, what time is it? Wow. Okay. So we'll talk about so it's the last 2 weeks of summer for us in Ontario. And I have found this
school.
Yeah. Sorry. So school starts in 2 weeks. I found this last year. I found this the year before, but particularly this year because both of our kids are now going back to school. Like this past year was Cooper's first full year of school. And I find that our kids are just so done with summer. And I know that sounds bizarre and they don't realize that they're done, but it does make sense. Like their attitudes, their patience are so slim right now because they haven't had structure. They go a full year, 10 months of structure. You're having breakfast at the same time. You're getting up. They know what they're doing. There's a schedule and there's a routine. And then summer comes and it's amazing. The first month they're like, this is great. We don't have to get up for anything. We're doing like the surprise days, whatever. And then it kind of gets old really quickly and they can't regulate their emotions. And so I've noticed this really does happen the last 2 weeks. It's like we're already living in September. Like I'm already like, I'm so ready. But yesterday was a hard day because Riley was just getting so like argumentative about everything. We were in the car. Cooper brought her slime. Okay. And I was just like, let's just get out the door. In retrospect, I should have been like, no, you're not bringing the slime, especially because it was hers. So we get in the car. Cooper's playing with it. He splits it in half and gives half to Riley. And it was like almost identical in the amount they both had, like maybe a millimeter more Cooper had. And she would not let this go. She was like, Cooper has more. He's lucky he's playing with this. And it was just like, yip, 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 yip. And I'm like, can you not? And so I'm like, Riley, he has like the smallest amount more. Like you can't even tell. And she would make valid points. And she's like, well, it is mine. Like it is my slime and I'm letting him play with it. And I was like, I understand that, but like, it's not a big deal. But then under her breath, she'd be like, it's my money and maybe it is a big deal. And like, you think that, anyways. And so I was trying to calm myself down. And it got me thinking about, and I was calm until I wasn't. I snapped. I like took the slime and bless you.
Thank you.
Rolled down my window and I was like, I'm going to throw this piece of shit out the window if you guys don't shut up. And they were like, oh my God. She was like, Mom, why are you freaking out? I'm like, are you okay? Bless you.
No.
And so I did lose my mind a little bit. And then I took a couple seconds. I was like, can no one talk to me for like the next 3 minutes? Like, I'm losing it. And then I apologized after because she was having valid points and I understood what she was saying, but she was just annoyed. She was poking at her brother. Everything that he was doing was so annoying. But I started thinking about how, you know, the whole gentle parenting thing, because I was not gentle in my parenting. I was aggressive parenting. Like, I was freaking out. And I think it's really important to kind of amalgamate gentle parenting and just being like stern, like, and losing it sometimes. And if you lose it, you need to have the humility to go apologize after, because now it's showing your child, like, I'm going to make mistakes, but I can own up to them. I can apologize to you. And I really struggle with gentle parenting and like, that's it, because I'm like, how are you preparing your child to go out in the real world? And if someone loses it on them, okay, like, they don't know what to do, right? They're so used to this safe space in their home and their parents know how to do this, but that is not what's happening in the real world. Like, where is the medium there? Like, how do you meet in the middle?
So I'm a parent, and when I do that, it's parenting.
Yeah.
Right. Our kids are children. When they're being children, what is that? Childrening? What is that? What's the word? I need to know the word.
I actually have no idea what you're saying right now.
When they're childrening. Childrening.
When they're being children?
Yeah. Well, the reason I say that is there's gentle parenting, but like, why can't there be fucking gentle childrening? You know what I mean?
No.
Like, we talked about this a couple podcasts ago.
Did
later.
we?
Kids can be assholes.
Yes.
Kids can be assholes. Where's the safe place for us?
Yeah, that's true.
Right. We have to,
maybe my kid isn't a gentle kid. Like, he doesn't respond to that.
Right. But like, it's like, that's true too, but that's not where I'm going with this.
Right. You're children.
I'm going with this, like, childrening. I'm going with this, like, we need to create a safe place for our children to feel their emotions, right? Like, I'm allowed to feel my emotions. Why? But are we not allowed to feel our emotions?
Well, that whole thing is like, and then it goes back to like, you're an adult. You should be able to control yourself, which
but that's not true.
It's not. There are times where
it's not even fair.
You'll lose it as an adult. Like, you will lose your mind as an adult to another adult. So you're basically telling your child that doesn't exist outside of this home. Like, you always have a space to feel your feelings, and everyone else. And I get it. Like, we're not saying, because I know a lot of gentle parenting people are going to be like, the fuck, but people, I think that it's okay to have that space for your kids to feel their emotions. You can validate those, but you're right. We need to be able to also validate our emotions.
100%.
Obviously in check. Like, you're not going to be like swearing at them and freaking out, but there will be times where you maybe yell or lose it. It's just a matter of making sure that that's not going to you're not doing that more than you're not. And if you do, you need to go and have a sit down talk with your child and be like, listen, mommy was really angry. She snapped. She shouldn't have reacted that way. My anger got the best of me. Like, this is me apologizing. Because it's not only showing your child that you're a human being and you will lose it, to prepare them for when another person loses their mind, but it's also saying like I now can apologize to you. So if you lose it, you need to now apologize to somebody else.
I also think my parents raised me, and this was language that was used on a regular basis. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Your children need to understand that they can feel their emotions and not be assholes.
Yeah.
If your child is disrespecting you or disrespecting somebody else, you as a parent, it is your job and your responsibility to make sure that they know how to function in society. Right. And you cannot act out. You cannot stomp your feet. You cannot yell and scream. It's inappropriate.
And then have
wildly
no consequences.
Inappropriate. To not have a consequence, I'm sorry. I'm all for gentle parenting. I'm all to a degree.
Yeah.
I'm all for let them have a safe place to feel their feelings, validate their feelings. I'm all for that. That is very effective communication. And there needs to be like and you're not allowed to do this.
Well,
you're
think
not
it's
allowed to be disrespectful.
That's the difference, right? Like if you're really frustrated and your child is like throwing shit or whatever, you can be like, that's not like, that's an inappropriate response. You can't be like, it's fine. I know that you're angry and like, it's okay. No, it's not okay. Because when you get older, you can't be throwing shit at your workplace.
No, your
boss isn't going to be like, it's fine.
There are a lot of people in jail right now. No, I'm being serious.
That word gentle parented?
No, I'm not suggesting that. Maybe, but no. What I'm saying is there are a lot of people in jail right now who felt their feelings and acted on their feelings.
Yeah.
And that 5-second reaction that they had to their feelings put them in jail. You have to be able to teach your children.
Manage your emotions.
Feel your emotions, but manage your emotions.
Regulate.
Separate yourself from other people if you feel like you cannot physically deal with the emotions that you're dealing with. Hitting people, yelling at people, swearing at people, throwing things at people.
We tell our kids to go scream in a pillow.
That escalates when you're an adult.
Yes.
Those things need to be like, no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to put my dad voice on and I'm going to put my foot down.
Yeah.
And this ends now.
Yeah.
We can talk about it in an hour when your emotions are where they're supposed to be. I'll come to that communication calm, relaxed, and very like in discovery of where you're at. But right now it's over.
Right.
Done.
Can we just quickly, before we wrap, you have something
I
more?
just want to say this because I was thinking about Riley the other day. Riley's now 9.
Yeah.
Cooper is 5. They're not the same age. And yet I find that we're treating them the same way.
Yeah.
And specifically, when I look at Riley, she's bored, but she's always, can I go outside and play with this person? Can I go outside and play with this person? We're like, no. She's 9. It's like, yeah. When I was 9, I'll tell you, I didn't even tell my parents where I was going.
No.
I was just outside playing with my friends. My summer was filled with laughter and playing with my friends. And I did a bunch of stuff with my family. I find that we control Riley's environment a little bit too much. And her resisting us lately, I think is just like, enough is enough. I'm 9 years of age. I can walk down the street. We live in a safe neighborhood. I know all of the neighbors. I know all of the people that are here. Let me go walk down the street. And as opposed to me be like, okay, you can walk down the street now and I'll watch you get to the person's house. Because that's the behavior that we needed to do when she was 5.
I think
we're still doing it.
I get what you're saying. Like we definitely could give her a little bit like more slack on the leash. I think for me, it's like when she wants to go out and she wants to go on her hoverboard and shit, I have to be outside because she's on the road. And I'm struggling right now because I have Coop home and he doesn't want to go outside. And so sometimes I force him to go outside, but it's like these last 2 weeks, and this is what I was like going to say, have been hard because I feel like because you are like, okay, so not to get into like a whole thing, but you are like, well, this is my week. Okay. So you show up and you're like, this is my schedule this week for work. And it's like, I am left to figure out my schedule around your schedule with the kids home. And I'm finding that hard and difficult to talk about like the mental load because it's like, we both have jobs and luckily I've rearranged my stuff so that I can be here for the kids. But I felt like it's nice. It would be nice. And this is where we're lacking in communication for us to sit down and say, how are we both going to function with the kids home for the last 2 weeks because they don't have camp? Where I'm feeling like it's like, how are you going to deal with this? Because this is my schedule.
I get that. I also know that I have a schedule and deadlines and things that have to happen in the real world between 8 o'clock and 5 o'clock.
So do I. I have my own. I also have deadlines. And the problem with my job is that my deadlines change constantly. I constantly have brands that are reworking and being like, I need you to get this in this time, rework, edits, blah, blah, blah. I also have deadlines in the real world.
Yeah. And I have more of a structured position and a structured job that requires my presence. I'm not suggesting that you got to figure this out. If you don't have the time or capacity, then let's send them somewhere, because during the hours of 8 o'clock in the morning to 5:30 at night, I am not an option.
And I'm not saying that this isn't me being like,
it's only an option because I work from home and you can see me. But if I was in an office, you just wouldn't see me.
I am not saying that this is, you need to come and be a parent and we need to shift. I'm saying there wasn't a conversation about how we collectively are going to figure this out.
Yeah, I 100% you're right.
And I feel like that this is also where my like, because I feel like I'm snippy with you because
you feel like it.
I am.
I will validate.
Because I'm annoyed and I'm frustrated and I'm resentful that I'm just left to figure this out. And it's like, I wish that we would have had a conversation. I wish that we would have prioritized this. And this isn't all on you. Like, I should have also been like, hey, we need to sit down and figure this out so that we both can come out of this not being frustrated with one another. Because it's not me saying, like, I know, like, you are so busy right now. You are going from meeting to meeting to meeting. Like, you don't have time to eat lunch sometimes. And I totally understand that. I'm fine to pick this up and figure it out. I think I just would have appreciated a pre-conversation so that we can both be like, this is the plan. What are we going to do here?
Yeah.
And that didn't happen.
No, 100%. And also in my defense, I can't read your mind. So when it looks like you got shit taken care of, it's taken care of. It's out of sight, out of mind for me. If it's taken care of, it's taken care of. I don't have to put any mental capacity towards something that is taken care of.
I know, but I'm not asking you to read my mind.
What I'm saying to you is if you feel like you're going through this right now and you feel like you're going through it alone, I will have a problem with that, but I understand where you're coming from because you're definitely not doing it alone.
I'm not saying, I never said that I was alone. And
well,
it's not about you reading my mind. It's about you being like, oh, you know what? There is no camp for the last 2 weeks. Like, do we have a plan for the kids? Like, that isn't on your radar. And that's why I'm like, how is that not on your radar?
Because it's not on my radar. But if you put it on my radar, it's now on my radar. I'll sit down, I'll have a conversation with you and we'll work it out. I don't know it's a problem unless it's a problem, but you're absolutely right. There's an assumption that was made that you've got it figured out. And I allowed it to be what it is. And now we'll talk about it because now I know that that's not right. It's not accurate. And so now we get to see where our inefficiencies are and we get to put together a plan. And that plan might just be, let's find some place to send them.
Yeah.
Because I might not be the option.
And yeah, I totally agree. I think that we're a little bit binded right now because there is no, there are no camps. Like, everything is full. There is no place to send them. So it might look like me having the kids all day. And then here's the baton that I've been carrying the whole time.
Which is what we've been doing.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is we just didn't have a conversation. And this is also a learning process for us for next year. Like, we know that the kids are batshit for the last 2 weeks of August. So we better make sure next summer that we have them like occupied or we are going to be frustrated. I don't want to go through this again.
No, I don't either.
Okay, perfect. Well,
that's a great way to end this podcast.
I think it was great.
Yeah, great.
It was a nice conversation.
It's a phenomenal conversation. And I hope it was a benefit to the people that are listening to this right now.
Why do you sound so scared?
I'm not scared. I just, I love you.
I love you too.
And this is annoying.
Have a good day.
Boop, 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 boop.
There goes a sight from my soul.